dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about the reveal of the final round-based zombies map coming very soon, a look at what's ahead, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and make sure you have notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Cold War Year 2, Warzone, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, and any other future Call of Duty as well. As a reminder, the Juggernaut beanies are now available over on eBay. They were previously on Amazon, but have been moved over for a number of reasons. It was more beneficial for the seller Perk Lemonade. He's also slashed the price on the beanies themselves, which is fantastic, and big shout out to him for putting these together for the awesome zombies community out there. The link to them is of course down below in this video's description. But earlier this afternoon, Treyarch dropped a bit of a surprise update regarding the final round-based map coming later this year, known as the Archon. They also tweeted, and I quote, "Court effects must die," and that it is indeed a round-based zombies experience. For those out there that might have had some doubt about what the next zombie map would be over in Season 5, and if you actually translate the Archon from Greek, it does stand for ruler or chief, and obviously that's referring to court effects we have to end up facing at some point in presumably the last boss fight we're going to get here in Vanguard Zombies. So for those out there that also thought this was a map coming to Cold War, it's unfortunately not. It is a map coming to Vanguard to go ahead and round up the zombies mode in Vanguard and leave us with 4 total experiences in the game itself. Now, as of right now, we do not have a release date or any type of gameplay or even a roadmap that talks about this final round-based map, so it's unclear when it's coming out, but it is heavily implied that it will very likely be the beginning of Season 5. I don't know why they would have marketed it right now if it's not going to come out towards the start of the season, but looking at how previous seasons of Vanguard were marketed, we end up getting a roadmap and even a blog post towards like Thursdays or like the end of a week, and then we end up getting the launch of the new season the following week on a Wednesday. So I think by this Thursday the 18th we should end up getting more information and a release date about this last zombies map, and then we have the start of Season 5 next Wednesday the 24th. But looking at the implications of Numa Reborn, I will leave a storyline video that I made down below in this description talking about the story in Vanguard Zombies thus far, a bit of a recap on everything that happened with Fung, Terra, Maledicta, and of course Numa Reborn, as well as some information that I included in there talking about what this may actually be teasing for Treyarch's next Black Ops Zombies iteration coming in 2024. I worked really hard on that video, hopefully you check that out. But taking a look at how Numa does tease that we're going back to Egypt, I'm just a bit confused if that does mean we're going to get a bit of an expansion of Terra Maledicta. Will it just be Terra Maledicta but in round-based form? I want to say that's not going to be the case, but at the very least, we're probably going to see the fortress that you could see in the Dark Ether when you're going through the Void objective on that map. We're likely going to see that, and then that entire area surrounding it expanded upon in this final round-based map, but that's the Dark Ether, not Egypt. So I'm wondering if by Egypt they mean we are going to see some elements or areas from Terra Maledicta. It's a bit unknown right now, but I do find that ironic that Chaos is kind of being reintroduced in a way. We still don't know to what extent, but there was a scrapped Chaos map that was going to take place in Egypt that we never saw for Black Ops 4. So I'm wondering if any concepts whatsoever from that experience are going to be reintroduced at some point here with Vanguard Zombies. That would be fantastic, but I'm looking forward to what hopefully will be the ability to go to the Fortress of Court Effects, and maybe that's where we're going to end up fighting him. Hopefully it's something that epic, but again, keep your expectations reasonable for any type of Vanguard experience. Now, we'll definitely end up knowing the release date of this round-based map towards the end of this week. There's no doubt in my mind about that, but I do think it makes sense to get this out before the COD Next event, September 15th, because once that event starts, it's going to be bam, bam, bam. We're talking reveals for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, Warzone 2, Warzone Mobile, other redacted content, so I don't think it would be smart to then release this final zombie map after that, because then after the COD Next event, we have the beta, first for PlayStation, then later for Xbox, so everyone's going to have their hands full. I know if you're not a multiplayer person, you only care about zombies, then the COD Next event doesn't affect you. I totally get that, but I think in terms of a majority of the COD community, it makes sense to drop this map ASAP, and I think by dropping it next Wednesday, that's plenty of time to kind of absorb the finale for Vanguard Zombies before we get deep into the beginning of Modern Warfare 2's life cycle and then everything else to follow. Now, I honestly think if there was a Season 6 for Vanguard, which you never know, there might be, and I'll gladly correct myself in the future if there is, I think they probably would have saved this final zombie map for that season. I mean, I'm just hoping that they've had enough time to polish this finale, because Numa Reborn was fantastic. I mean, obviously it was Numa, map that we've played dozens of times before, but the main quest, the side Easter eggs, they were great. They did such a good job handling that map and also introducing round-based to Vanguard, so I'm hoping they've had plenty of time to really brush up on this finale to Vanguard Zombies that we're going to get. Hopefully it's not rushed just because of the fact that they want to get it out before Modern Warfare 2 starts, or before the marketing for that game starts, I should say, and they want to get it out before Season 5 hits its mid-season. I mean, who knows, but I do think a Season 6 is very likely off the table right now for Vanguard altogether. Now, it's kind of funny because during the Cold War life cycle, we know we had to wait quite a while for Mauder Toten. There was a big gap in between Firebase Z and Mauer, and it was a bit strange how what they labeled DLC 2, which is Outbreak, ended up coming out a couple of weeks after Firebase. So DLC 1 and 2 coming out within the span of like a month, and then having a 6 to 7 month gap to DLC 3, that was strange. And maybe there could have been an extra map in between if the pandemic didn't hit, if they actually had more time to make Black Ops Cold War. Obviously a lot of theories and tinfoil hats about what could have happened there, but I remember when Modern Totem came out, I'm like, wait a second, we waited this long for DLC 3, does that mean DLC 4 is going to be doomed then if it's going to end up coming out within, you know, 2.5 months or so? How would they actually get that going? And then I ended up liking Forsaken more than Modern Totem, which is awesome. So I don't think the short gap in between the release of these maps is going to really affect anything. I think they were working on these maps simultaneously. So point being, I think the Archon will be just as good, if not better, than Numa Reborn here for Vanguard. Now, to kind of go back to that point about Terra Maledicta, as you're seeing gameplay of in the background, I do think it is a bit ironic that Numa was, of course, already in Duran Fung, obviously a small portion of it, and they kind of just expanded on that for the round-based version. So I wouldn't really put it past them to then take a couple of portions, if not the entire layout of Terra Maledicta, and expand that to round-based, because maybe there's a possibility people out there just decided not to play Terra. The player count might have been so low for the map to where they're like, hey, if we end up releasing a round-based version of this map and give it a different name, people really wouldn't mind it because they probably didn't play the objective version. So it still would be a new map for those people. I mean, you never know what they're planning behind the scenes right now, but I personally wouldn't mind if this was the case. I just think story-wise it would be a bit messy if it kind of went back and forth, but hopefully they find a creative way to explain how we're going back to a similar area if that is indeed the case. Now, it also reminds me of a point I made a little while ago, which is that content is content. I mean, you don't have to play it. You don't have to even own Vanguard. Maybe you're still going to watch videos about this final round-based map. It doesn't matter, but to me, it's still something when either way, this year should not have been a Treyarch Zombies year at all. I mean, we were lucky to get Cold War Zombies and Cold War altogether when that also wasn't their game for 2020, but they turned it into a Black Ops game because they had to. So realistically, this year we shouldn't have gotten anything from Treyarch, you know, since Cold War exists. So to me, it's just extra content to enjoy, to cover for you guys, to stream, talk about the story, and I'm excited about that because we're about to get what is likely a good 2-year gap before the next Zombies iteration. Unless there's some surprise 2023 free-to-play project, which has been rumored for a while, then I do think this will be the end of Zombies for as long as maybe 2 years. Now, even if you don't care much about the gameplay or even the story of Vanguard Zombies, it is worth noting that there will still be some implications by the end of this game's life cycle that are going to be impacting Black Ops 2024 Zombies. So although the next Zombies iteration is going to pick up where Forsaken left off, that's without a doubt, I do think a lot of the lore that was established here in Vanguard with the gods, you know, with Cord Effects, with the Rabbit, I think all of that is going to play a very serious role in what we end up seeing in the next Black Ops Zombies game. And I'll again make some more recap videos in the future in case anybody out there missed out on the very interesting lore that's been established here with Vanguard Zombies. Now, I also want to add this. I wonder what the original plan for Vanguard was. If, let's say, the original plan as of last year was to have Treyarch do the zombies in this game, what would have happened if Vanguard was massively successful? What would have happened if there were huge roadmaps every season with a bunch of multiplayer content, with a bunch of weapons and modes, and then zombies, let's say that was well received? How would this game look right now, and how many maps would have been planned? Was a year or two ever on the table for Vanguard? That's what I really wonder, because if MW2 marks the beginning of COD 2.0, that just tells me that they're kind of leaving behind everything that came before it, which I guess is understandable, but I'm definitely curious if there were always plans to do 4 maps in Vanguard, but once they had to change from objective gameplay to round-based gameplay, did that plan completely change, or was there always a plan to just leave off at 4 maps anyway because that's all they had really time to do, considering they're doing Black Ops 2024 right now? Now, I know a few of you might be wondering, will there be a super Easter egg in Vanguard Zombies? And here's the thing, right? If Black Ops 4 of all games didn't have one, and to me that was the game that probably should have had one, then I highly doubt Vanguard Zombies will. I'm just happy Cold War ended up getting one, even if it was a bit late during year 2, and even if it was something as minor as a weapon upgrade and some emblems, it was still something to reward you for going ahead and doing all the main quests throughout Black Ops Cold War. But for Vanguard, it's like, well, would they give you something if you did Duran Fung and Terra Maledicta, or just, you know, Numa and the Archon, because they're the only round-based maps in the game? That's what I'm curious about. But if they give you a calling card, that would be cool. I mean, anything is appreciated, of course, but again, people have to stop looking at Vanguard Zombies as some type of equivalent to like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. I get it. If it's marketed to Treyarch is making it, you have high expectations. I totally get that. But if you have any slight idea about the circumstances with the development of Vanguard, and you just know that it's not even their game to begin with, then that I find it hard to believe that you're still sitting there expecting this to be some type of groundbreaking round-based experience with some revelations like atmosphere and some crazy boss fight like Gorod Krovi. I just don't really get that mindset right now. And the last thing I will end with is that even though people might consider this to be a waste of time, if you're like, wait, why are they wasting any resources on zombies in Vanguard? Nobody plays it, nobody cares. I think the player count is at least somewhat decent to warrant doing another map. Again, there's no season pass or any type of contractual obligation to release more maps. Activision could have pulled the plug at any time, but clearly Treyarch is passionate about continuing the prequel story here in Vanguard Zombies to really help set up the future of the Dark Aether storyline. And I also think that the player count was at least pretty positive for Numa Reborn, where Activision is like, yeah, let's give out one more map. I mean, we're gonna end Vanguard anyway with Season 5, might as well also wrap up Zombies with a bit of a bow tie and give Zombies fans something before we go on a bit of a hiatus for what could be 2 years. And I'll remind you guys again, if you forgot, this is all just practice as well. Treyarch beginning to use the Modern Warfare engine. This is their opportunity to really iron things out with round-based, with the AI, with all types of mechanics, so that they don't have to worry about getting used to this for their next Black Ops game, which as of right now is rumored to also be using the Modern Warfare engine. So even if you say that Zombies is dead, you don't care about it, I know you'll still be logging on to the next Zombies game whenever that does come out. But in terms of Zombies altogether, it just peaked really hard with Cold War. Activision confirmed it, Treyarch confirmed it, the community has really been vocal about that. Cold War Zombies was a success. If you didn't like it, that's totally your call, that's your opinion. I don't care what that opinion is, but considering the success of Cold War and then looking at what happened with Vanguard, you just know when Treyarch actually has time to work on something and it's actually a game that's theirs, they're gonna come out swinging. So without a doubt, with the extra year of development they're about to get for their next Black Ops game, it's gonna be a home run whenever they come out with the next iteration of Zombies. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the reveal here for the final round-based map coming in Season 5? What are your thoughts on what's ahead for the Dark Aether storyline? And also, what are your thoughts on what could be a 2-year hiatus for Zombies altogether? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.